And we are live, guys. Awesome to have you guys join me for another live stream. My name is Joseph Darling, and this is the On Track channel where we teach you the basics about life that you should have learned in school. So, we want to talk about a little bit about regrets. The key to life is to have no regrets. You don't want to look back at your past and say, you know what, I, uh, I didn't live up to the potential of what my life could have been. But there's good news and bad news. The good news is that if you like you at the end of your life, you will have no regrets because all of the experiences that led up to that moment in time is based on it had to happen in order for you to become you. The only regrets that we will ever have is if we do not like us. If you don't like yourself, you will have regret. If you like you, you won't. So the key to figuring out how to have no regrets ever at the end of our lives, it has to come from the point of figuring out how to like you more. The more you like you, the less regret you'll have. And at the end of your life, that's what you're going to be thinking about. That's what you're going to be wondering. Or you're going to know immediately, right? After having heard this sentence in the future, maybe you remember it, at your deathbed. It's like, man, I don't like me. And that's why I have regrets. Yeah, well, there you go. But if you like you, man, your life will have been an amazing story that you hopefully will be able to pass on to your grandchildren, great-grandchildren, etc., at your old age. So, if we understand this, then how do we get to the point where we like ourselves? Right? Because that's the big question. How can we get you to like you? If you understand this, then everything changes. And so we got to do this one step at a time. That's what we're going to do in this live stream, in this video. Okay, so life consists of 3 different categories. That's it. There's no other categories than these 3. And everything can be included in them. Okay? And it's about your life. It's health, money, and relationships. And not necessarily in that order. And what I wanted to do is to help you to understand this in the lens of a retiree or someone who is at their deathbed. Okay, I'm not saying retirees. Well, maybe it is. The faster you retire, it has been proven that, the faster you retire, the faster you die. So this video is going to be in line with what I believe is one of the most important things in life is work ethic. Work ethic to do the things that need to get done when they need to be done, whether you like it or not. And I'm going to line this up with you liking you at the end of your life and making sure that you are a happy man throughout your life. That's all that life is about. Figuring the pursuit of happiness and understanding how that system works. Imagine if they taught you this in school, right? First grade. This is how you are happy. This is how you will have a fantastic life. I wish I had learned this in first grade in school, right? Okay. So, in order for this to work properly, I have written in ChatGPT the greatest regret of retirees. That's it. And, usually you need to do a more extensive prompt to get what you want out of ChatGPT, but sometimes it's a nice conversationalist. ChatGPT, trading, and watching YouTube are my 3 vices. Okay? And vices in the sense that they sometimes distract me from the things that need to get done. So I've managed to cut down massively on 2 of them. The third one is just such a passion of mine that I do it every day as a reward for having done what I need to get done. Okay? You figure out which one it is, or you can think about it. All right. So, what is the I'm saying basically to you is just don't spend too much time on ChatGPT. It's just a large language model where if you write to it, it will write you a lot of information back based on what you've written to it in the past. So it's like you can go in circles and loops with ChatGPT, but it's actually a pretty cool service. But I don't pay for it. Don't pay for it. I don't see any reason for it. Anyway, I don't pay for it. Okay, the greatest regret of retirees. Okay, they're about time, relationships, courage, and priorities. Cool. All right. So a lot to do with liking yourself. Think about that for a second. If you have lived according to your priorities, you will have liked yourself. Maybe you'll even like yourself if you don't live up to your priorities. That's possible too. How would that work? Well, let's go into it. Courage means to have heart, right? Cœur comes from the French word, which means heart. You'll like yourself if you had courage in your life. Most probably, right? But why do we need courage? Courage to do what? This is where it gets interesting. Remember the 3 categories of life: relationships, health, and finance. These 2 are directly related to health, right? Time and relationships. If you have health, you won't be thinking only about yourself. If you don't have health, you will. You'll be the victim. If you have great health, at the end of your life, maybe you don't, but you could. There's a graph that I saw someone show some time back, and it was showing the discrepancy between those that exercise and those that don't exercise in terms of the decline towards death. And those that didn't exercise had a very quick, steep curve from retirement until death, okay? Because it's work and exercise. And then those that did exercise on a daily basis, their curve was not steep at all. It was kind of like a nice slope, right? Could you imagine being like on skis or snowboarding and you have a steep slope that goes like this and directly to your death, right? It's the same thing. While with the slope, it's kind of enjoyable. You retire, your retirement and having time should be massively enjoyable for you in the last part of your life. But it should also be massively enjoyable throughout your life. If you have time to do what you want to do when you want to do it, then life becomes quite enjoyable as long as you have your priorities in order, right? And so we're trying to figure this out now because that is what you're allotted. You're allotted approximately 3 billion seconds throughout your life. And that's 96 years. A lot of people die way before that, right? But if we hope to live according to these principles that I share with you and, try to, and we have the future technologies that will exist as a result of the things we're discussing, but also because of, the discoveries of the past, let's get you to at least 96 years old. That's 3 billion seconds. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot when there's 3,000 billionaires on the planet. They have more money than they have seconds if they have 3 billion plus, right? So it's incredible to see what you can get to from a money perspective, but from a time perspective, there's a scarcity. There's only 3 billion seconds, but you can make $400 billion like Elon Musk. Potentially. Maybe not you individually, but a lot of people could, right? But why, right? Elon Musk, I don't think he actually cares about the fact that he's the world's richest man. Maybe he does, gives like a kind of an ego boost, I suppose. But the most important thing is that Elon does the things that he wants to do on a daily basis. Have you thought about that? That's actually really powerful to think about. That Elon Musk, who sometimes, I don't know if he does that continuously, but sometimes works 80-hour work weeks, and some would say that he is the one that works, throughout his years, there's not many people that know of other people that worked harder than Elon Musk. And he's been a massive proponent of the 80-hour work week, and so am I. And here I am talking about time, relationships, courage, and priorities. Right? Okay, let's get back to it. Let's start reading. I don't want to beat these principles to death, but I kind of do. All right, let's go. I waited too long to live the life I really wanted. Okay, so how does this coincide with liking yourself in the future? If you didn't live the life that you wanted, that means that you lived the life that someone else wanted for you. And hopefully, that person, like, if you lived for that person, but you didn't live for you, that means that that person was higher in priority. But if you say these words, that means that you don't really like that person that set your priorities. Right? You didn't have courage enough to step up and stand your ground with what is important to you, not the other people. If you actually liked the person that told you what to do, or that basically, said, you should do this and you should do this, and you listened to them, you're not going to regret that you didn't live the life that you really wanted, because you liked the life that you really wanted as long as that person likes you. Right? The interesting part is, if you don't live the life that you really want, then the people around you most probably won't like you, because you'll be a pushover. So number one is about being a pushover and not going for what you want. And if you have significant others in your life, okay, that could be a romantic partner, but it could also be your inner circle in general. If they are continuously telling you what to do, and you don't like the life that you are leading or will lead, then you don't like them very much, because they took you away from what you actually really wanted. Hope that makes sense. And yeah, they spend decades in jobs routines that feel safe but unfulfilling, telling themselves they'll travel, create, relax later. So you can read through this. I'm not going to read through them. I just want to make sure you get the gist of what ChatGPT said, and we'll discuss each principle. Okay, so that was number one. Waited too long to live the life you really wanted, and make sure that, yeah, it's still working. So we understand this one. Okay, I'll move on. I didn't spend enough time with the people I loved. Again, this is mismanagement of priorities. You only have 3 billion seconds. You got to use them wisely. And why would you not spend it with people that you love? We're going to go into this one a little bit more than what we usually do with the others. Here again, someone else that you liked less than the people that you wish you would have spent more time with dictated your time. Problem. Okay. But if you spend a lot of time with people that you like, you'll eventually, and they will eventually, like you less. So this is a little bit of a contradiction and a little bit of an oxymoron, because, or a dichotomy, if you will. Let's talk about romantic partners for a second. Okay? There's a saying called absence makes the heart grow fonder. Have you heard about that? There's also a situation that actually extends the life cycle of a relationship longer than it usually would have been, and it's called LDRs, long distance relationships. The further away that you are from someone, causing you to not be able to spend time with each other, there's an automatic rejection there that causes there to be somewhat of a tension, that causes there to be a desire to be with each other when you can't. And so as long as the two people are loyal to each other, then absence going to make the heart grow fonder. If one of the people are disloyal, then the other person is becoming fonder by the day and not knowing that the other person is doing something wrong, right? So, but if, let's just say that both people are trying to be together, but they can't because of X, Y, and Z, that's going to increase the love that they have for each other, okay? If you then spend a lot of time with each other, like let's say, for example, you live together and you see each other every single morning, every single night, and also maybe throughout the day, you're not going to be missing each other very much. And as a result, you won't like that person as much. Okay? So it's easy to say I didn't spend enough time with the people I loved. And obviously there's nuances to this, and it's on a scale, right? But in general, if you say that, it's the greener on the other side type of mentality. Because if you actually had spent a lot of time with the people that you loved, like a lot of time, then they wouldn't have liked you as much. And so you would have been in the same dichotomy, or even worse, because they wouldn't have liked you, and maybe you would have gotten a divorce as a result of spending too much time with the person. And as a result, you would have lost your kids, you would have lost half of what you made, you would have lost blah, 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 blah. So for a billionaire who put in, or a multimillionaire who put in the 80-hour work week, and then he lost them, that was because his priorities were not in the right place. You can have your family, your wife, your kids be your highest priority and still invest your time elsewhere to serve them, right? As long as you set aside precious time in order for you to be with your wife once in a while, okay? Maybe a little bit every single day, that's good, but not more than a little bit every single day. And with your kids, enough to educate them and enough to give them opportunities and enough to help them develop their talents, but not so little that you just paid them off and they weren't really a priority and blah, 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 right? This is the situation here that you need to understand what the right amount is so that you never have to say, I didn't spend enough time with the people that I loved. Because either way, it's a greener on the other side type of perspective. And that's kind of important to understand how that works, because maybe you love to spend time with your woman, but your woman will naturally want to spend less time with you over time if you spend too much time together, because you guys are too close. Like you become roommates instead of there being a fiery passion between you guys. And that's not nice. That's not enjoyable for a romantic relationship. So just saying this in general. I was building a life for them, not with them. Well, guess what? Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Your kids will like you more if you're not around all of the time. Interesting. Your romantic partner will like you more when you're not around most of the time. And that makes the little time that you have together very special. This is completely in line with supply and demand. If there's too much supply, the value becomes worthless, right? It goes down exponentially. If there's little supply, okay, not enough supply, then the desire for it massively increases. The demand goes up, and as a result, the value goes up. So you have to have a scarcity of time for the people you love to love you. So there you go. Next one. I care too much about what others thought. This is, again, people that you don't like, right? And very often we do stuff in order for us to compete with people that we don't like, in order for them to make us feel important. Like if you don't feel important, then you're going to try to impress people so that you can be important. And a lot of it is faking, a lot of it is lies, and you can kind of get a gist of that on social media. And a lot of people are kind of putting on a facade, or leading a double life, where one is life is online and the other one is offline, and they're two very separate distinctions. I think it's great to have transparency and be open with people about things online, but at the same time, you also need to make sure that you are wise about what you reveal to the world, right? Because if you reveal everything, then it could put you in jeopardy, right? And put your reputation in jeopardy as well. Like like, even though it's like a regular thing, like, let's say, for example, you, I don't know if I can come up with any examples right now, but let's say you're, have a vegan community, okay? And then one time you wanted to eat steak for some weird reason, right? Should you state that to your vegan community and have half of them leave you behind? Maybe you hold that back a little bit because it's one time thing that happened. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like it's not who you are, but if you are what you repeatedly do. So if you're doing something repeatedly and you're not really transparent about it and you pretend as if you're doing the opposite, huge difference. And I don't look at this as a white lies. I'm looking at that as being wise with the information that you share, uh so that you can have the greatest possible relationship with the people that you're trying to serve, so that they can be served by you and that you guys can help each other. I hope that kind of makes sense. Weird example, but like, the reason why I thought about it is because Joey and Phoebe, I watched Friends, in one of the last episodes that we watched, Joey was in London and he had promised Phoebe that until she gave birth, then he wouldn't eat meat. And Joey, for that's a huge thing, right? And he kept his promise, except in London. And it became a huge joke where he was like, well, I can, since we're not there in New York, I can eat meat because I'm in London. So, do you understand? And he hasn't revealed to Phoebe that he actually ate meat in London. So anyway, it's that is supposedly, maybe, I guess, a little bit of white lie, but yeah. Hope you work with me on that one. Anyway, keep going. Care too much about what others thought. Again, it's who are you prioritizing in terms of their thinking? Because if you're prioritizing people that are not going to stick around long term, you're wasting your priorities. You're wasting your time and attention to doing something that doesn't really matter to you because you're trying to do it to someone that temporarily will be in your life, like strangers and stuff like that. Who cares, right? It's what matters most is what lasts the longest. So if you have a romantic partner that's going to be with you for life, that's what matters most because that's what you're going to care about at the end of your life. But if you are caring about what a stranger feels about you who doesn't actually care at all about you, but they'll care enough in order for them to make fun of you or for them to spew a negative comment, online, or say something rude about you to a friend. Like, because they're looking for negative stuff if they're hurt. Hurt people hurt people. And so you can't base your life on, oh, I need to care what everyone thinks about me. That means that you're going to be massively diversifying your efforts in what you're trying to do. And this is the whole point of like having blinders on and doing what needs to get done when it needs to get done, whether you like it or not, and independently of what other people think. Hormozy actually puts this very well when he says that you need to know what you want, not care about what other people think, and then put so much volume into doing that thing that it becomes unreasonable for you not to succeed and get what you want, right? Paraphrasing, but that sentence, that paragraph is like the solution to life, right? You need to know what you want. And then you need to make sure you do not care about the opinions of others that are trying to detract you and distract you from the thing that you want. Because at the end of the day, you won't get what you want, right? And to go back to the aspect of liking yourself in the future, you are only going to have regrets if you don't like you. And if you care too much about what other people think, that's going to take you away from what you like about you. So we want to get you to the point where you don't care about what other people think because you got what you want. And when you have what you want, you like you. And what you want at the end of your life, I'm going to reveal it right now, are relationships. Yes, you would love to have your health. But why do you want to have your health at the end of your life? It's because you like you because other people like you. If other people don't like you, you won't like you. Especially the people that you do like. Everyone has people that they like. But if no one likes you, I mean, what a sucky situation to be in. That means that you've had the wrong priorities in life, and as a result, you have lots and lots of regrets. And you can be delusional about you not having regrets, but if you're, miserable and depressed, you've got regrets. If you're happy and fired up and excited, that means that you have relationships with other people that like you, that want to be around you. And so this is extremely simple when you understand how this all works. And yeah, at the end of your life, you have money, maybe, okay? But the only reason money has any form of value to you at the end of your life is because you have people around you who like you. And then you can actually give that, money to them if they need it for something specific that you believe is going to be a blessing to them. And as a result, you're happy because they're happy because you made their lives a little bit easier. Most important though is to the concept of generational wealth. Personally, I'd like to spend as much as possible of my personal wealth that I've built over my lifetime. And that sounds a bit selfish. Like, bro, aren't you gonna have something to give over to your kids? I mean, I'm going to be spending it on me and my wife and the people that I love, including my kids, right? But then I'm going to make sure that I reinvest it into institutions, businesses, and things that are going to continue to progress and be a blessing to the world. I personally believe that if you give too much money to people that are not prepared to handle it the right way, they're going to be screwed. And so if my kids are not living the right way and I leave an inheritance for them, I'm amplifying them not living the right way. Like, when you have money, it just amplifies who you are. If my kids and my grandkids are not living their lives in a way that they would not have regrets, right? At the end of their lifespan, I don't want to give an inheritance to them if I know it would destroy them further. Right? And this is a very common theme that rich people do. They just accumulate all of this wealth, and then the first generation doesn't manage to squander all the wealth, and they were also very close to the person that accumulated the wealth and saw how difficult it was. So as a result, they're a bit more wise about it. But the grandchildren, the third generation, usually are the ones that squander it all. And then it's like, it's a good thing from the perspective of the next generation, because now the next generation has to start from scratch in poverty in order for them to level up. That's fantastic. But it's even more fantastic if each generation adds onto that wealth and never loses it. And how is that happening? Through education. The only reason why someone squanders wealth is because they were ignorant about principles, and the only reason they were ignorant about it was because they didn't get educated. And that means that the person, the father who actually accumulated the wealth, didn't educate his kids properly in a way that actually benefited the kids. The kids needed to like him in order for them to actually listen to his instructions and actually take into consideration what he said. But if they didn't listen, that means that they rebelled, and the father continuously tried to use the only thing that he had to make them like him, which was to give them money or give them whatever they wanted. And that is a recipe for disaster in relationships. Because what do people actually care the most about? That other people like them. And the most important thing is that it's put and placed at a higher priority than money. And when kids see you being rich and having money, and then prioritizing making more money and prioritizing the business over their emotional needs, that's when you get screwed over. So it goes back to the aspect of relationships and the balance between, absence makes the heart grow fonder, and also the aspect of actually fulfilling their emotional needs. If their emotional needs are met, and you spend your wealth in order to figure out how can I have their emotional needs be met. And that's what you like. A millionaire, let's say a millionaire has kids, and his kids don't like him, and he's tried everything, and he keeps going back to his business, and he keeps progressing and making more and more and more and more money, and he's really good at it, and so it becomes his escape. And he's escaping because, well, at least people like me there, at least I can feel a sense of significance and importance in my business. But in my home life, my wife hates me and my kids hate me as well. Like, bro, you should have spent all of your money, okay, other than the amount that was needed in order for your business to run okay. But you should have spent all of your money trying to figure out relationships, trying to understand what on earth are they, why do they not like me, okay? And so you'd study people skills. You'd try to understand their interests, right? You would understand what is important to them, and you would try to help them get it without just paying for it, but encouraging them and supporting them. You see the difference in thinking. And big business owners understand how to connect with their kids and their grandkids very often. But also sometimes they don't. It's the relationship part of things is very interesting, and that is one of, the expertises that I have. Okay. So, hope you guys are enjoying this. Let's see. And hope the stream is working. You never know. All right. We keep going. Well, actually, I can figure out very easily if it's working or not. Of the expertises. It is working. Okay. Fantastic. Whoop whoop. All right. And let's continue. I didn't take more risks when I had the chance. The moments I hesitated were the ones that still haunt me. Okay, whether it's starting a business, moving abroad, confessing feelings, blah blah blah. Okay. I didn't take more risks. That have to do with courage again, right? Having the heart and having the having your priorities in order, but also gunning for it. This is living your life in fear, right? There's a video, there's a movie called Strictly Ballroom. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Okay? And I've seen a lot of movies. And it's the same guy, actually, who produced and created Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. And, no, sorry. Oh, no, that's not her name. That's, that was Titanic. The other one is not important, but yeah, Romeo and Juliet, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so Strictly Ballroom, there's a quote there where the dad says, "We lived our lives in fear." And it always strikes me every time I watch it and every time I think about it, because that is not a way to live your life. The opposite of fear is love. So to live your life in fear means that you don't have enough love in you. So being courageous and being bold and doing what other people are not daring to do is your responsibility as a human being. You must learn to be bold, but you also have to understand the risk management. And if you do understand risk management, then you will also not live your life in fear. You'll be okay with the consequences of your actions and actually moving forward and taking care of business. If you never figure out risk management, then you will live your life in fear because you think that everything's going to always turn out bad. That means that you have a negative attitude. That means that you're miserable. That means that you're struggling in life and you're pessimistic. And at the end of the day, you're not going to like yourself and you're going to regret stuff. You see how all this fits together? You must understand risk management. And the only way that you can understand risk management is if you understand a lot about the concept. In business, if I don't understand risk management, I'm going to make investments and then I'm going to the potential is that it goes okay, but there's massive potential that it won't go okay if I don't know what I'm doing. So as a result, the probability, since I'm competing with other people, is that it's not going to go okay. And that is business in general. It's like you suck at it because you don't understand it. You don't know what's going on. But After that one failure, you now try a second time, and now you know more about what's going on. And that means that you can have more risk management. And if you understand that, then the failure is not going to be as epic as the last one. Okay. And we want to keep improving and keep creating better businesses to the point where we have massive risk management and we don't go into something that's not going to pan out according to the numbers that we feel we should get a return on. Okay. If you want a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio, you need to know what's the likelihood of that one happening, of it failing. Because if it's a one, a 2-to-1 ratio, I don't want to do it. There are opportunities out there that can give me a 10-to-1 ratio that are safe bets. There, as a business owner, there might be opportunities out there that can give you a 20x. But if you don't understand it, you're never gonna get a 20x. And if you do, it was just a lucky strike, which means that you can't repeat it. That's the cool part about understanding a concept very well, is that at some point there is so little risk because you know everything about it. And this is why doing real estate, and investing hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars into it, like Robert Kiyosaki says, he's in debt by like $1.2 billion or something. Like, the only reason why he can do that and do it successfully is because he knows a lot about how it works. And he has tons of employees that are very knowledgeable on the subject so that he won't ever go bankrupt. So how can he take so much leverage? It's because he knows. He's got the information. So it's the same thing in business, but it's also the same thing in health. Like, if you're a child, why not poke your finger into the outlet, the electrical outlet, and hurt yourself? Well, why not touch the stove and burn yourself? There's no risk management, none whatsoever. But you learn over time because of your failures, because of you getting hurt, which is a great thing that we have that in place, because if we don't have that risk management, then you'll do crazy stuff like try to fly from the edge of a cliff, which some people do, by the way, but they're experts on the subject and have understood risk management because their friend died jumping off cliffs from a mountaintop, right? But imagine the freedom of understanding how to do that successfully with your parachute and with the right risk management in place. Same thing with relationships. The more you understand women, the less risk there is to actually get married and to actually start a family. Oh, I'll never start a family because I don't trust women at all. And as a result, I'll remain miserable at the end of my life because I never created something that lasted beyond me. Like, that is the saddest thing for me. And it might not be sad for if you don't want a family in the future. Okay. But I just understand relationships and what joy, bliss, and happiness can be provided to you if you understand women and have the risk management in place there, so that the choices you make before marrying someone and inside of that relationship will make sure that that relationship blossoms and become a fantastic thing, so that at the end of your life you like you because you liked her and she likes you. The combination of all of these principles is massive. Okay? But then we go back to the work ethic. If you actually do work, then she'll like you more because of, and I'm sharing with you now, this is the secret. This is for those of you that left, before I shared this with you, too bad. This is the value of being able to watch my videos all the way to the end. Recognize that the key to liking yourself is becoming someone that you can like. But more importantly, becoming the person that the people you like will like. And that is not difficult when you understand people's interests and when you understand what's important to other people. What's important to you is important to me. Boom. as a result of you living according to that principle and making those things that are important to them important to you, you've naturally now created a situation where they like you. The person that you like likes you now because you understand their priorities and what's important to them. And now the saying, it's the small things that count, has a meaning. Because if you know that she, as an example, likes that thing, then you can start investigating that thing and trying to understand it. Why does she like it? Why is that important to her? Suddenly you will begin to like it, because every single topic that you go deeply into trying to understand, you will get an appreciation for. From the very fact that you appreciated it by giving it your time and attention. If you don't give it time and attention, you're not appreciating it. You're basically saying that it's worthless. And this is why people don't like you if you don't prioritize them above everything else. People are more important than money. But I have a caveat to that, and I'm coming to that at the end of this. Okay, I work too much, enjoy too little. Okay, this is where it's at. I believe that the people who are saying this from a perspective of the 80% of the population to 95% of the population who chose to work jobs until the end of their life. Okay, so they retire at the age of 62, 67, or 72, whatever the age is going to be for your retirement. And you worked for somebody else, doing something that you did not like. And you will have this regret. I work too much and enjoy too little. Like, imagine working 40 hours a week for 50 weeks out of the year. That's 2,000 hours every single year. And you do that for 40 years. That is 80,000 hours. Right? Is that correct? Oh my gosh. I don't even know. But it's like 2,000 hours times 40. Yeah, 2 times 40, 80. So 80,000 hours was spent working a job that you didn't like? That's crazy. And this is why I teach about understanding business and understanding your financial freedom and actually getting to that point where you don't have to do something that you don't enjoy. Does that mean that you should let go of the thing that you don't enjoy right now to start living and to start doing things that you enjoy? I think that would be a horrible idea if you have not set up your financial freedom the right way and correctly. It would be very ignorant for you to quit your job in order for you to enjoy your life a little, or, like it said above here, waiting too long to live the life you really wanted. Bro, the very fact of this sentence is that it's only for people who are stuck doing their jobs that other people want them to do. And they're stuck not understanding money, not understanding business, not understanding how financials work, and as a result, get what they deserve. And what they deserve is most probably someone that they don't like. If someone has this at the end of their life, they don't like themselves because they didn't understand what other people that they liked, what their priorities were, because then they wouldn't say this. There is no such thing if you do the 80-hour work week as saying that I work too much and enjoy too little. Because if you're doing it the right way and building a business that you like, and that a business that brings about results that you like, a business that you, when you're building it and when you're spending time with the people that you're building it with, is massively enjoyable, then it's no longer as much work as it used to be. Not only this, but it should be something that actually serves and benefits the world. And if it does, then the work is not only enjoyable, but it's also going to be difficult, which as a result is going to make you a better person. And if you become a better person, you're going to be able to attract, even if it's your wife of 40 years that you've been together with for a very, very long period of time, the fact that you are continuously improving and getting better is causing her to like you more every single day. So if you're doing life correctly, you will begin to enjoy life more and more and more and more as it goes. Because you are improving you. That's the whole power of personal development. That's the whole power of understanding life and understanding relationships, understanding health, because you take care of you because you want to be able to take care of others, the people that you love. Not only that, but you also feel fantastic when you have good health. And even as you decline in age and you're still capable of doing cool things with your health and with your body, people are impressed, and that makes you feel important. Right? Could you imagine being 100 years old and being on the basketball court and doing dribbles and shooting threes and stuff like that as 100 years? I want to do that. You know why? Because the people that I like most probably are going to clap and be excited about seeing their 100-year-old great grandfather nail threes. Yeah, how cool, freaking awesome would that be? And that is the key to all of this. Is why are you out there working still? Like, is money all you care about? Bro, who gives a rat's about the money after you've built your financial foundation? The thing is, when you don't build your financial foundation, you can't have this. Okay, and I'm going to go into that a little bit in a second. Okay. Too busy earning a living to make a life. Well, that's only if you have a full-time job that you don't enjoy or appreciate. Compared to having a business where you're the boss and you call the shots, or you're working in a job that you absolutely love. Okay, it's a different story there. If you absolutely love your job and everything's amazing there and your relationships are built around that and your inner circle is built around that, fantastic, amazing. But as a man, at some point in time, you need to become. If you remain in a job for an extended long period of time, even though you enjoy it, did you continuously progress and improve in that job? Hopefully you did. But if you did, then fantastic. Then, that was like, at the end of the day, building a business is a job too, right? It's work. And doing work serving other people. So, jobs and business is the exact same thing. The only thing is leverage. Is that you just, have leverage on improving yourself, but also leverage in terms of the results that you can get out of the business. Okay. Didn't take care of my body when I could. That was kind of like the basketball, uh, you know, analogy. But also the aspect of like knowing, like if you if you're struggling with your health and you can't walk properly and you need someone to wipe your butt, right? You're completely aware that I can't wipe my own butt. Then yeah, you didn't take care of your body the way that you should have. And that means that you don't like you that much because you're not capable of taking care of yourself. Like like if you have taken care of your health properly, you're able to do stuff like that as you age as well. You know? You But if you don't take care of your health, you won't. And so you gotta, figure out ways. And obviously there's accidents and stuff that can happen, blah blah blah, that prevent you from being able to do what you need to get done. But just in general though, like the vast majority of the time, you will become of old age and you will have a situation that happened, right? We can't foresee all the risks of life because then it wouldn't be life, right? Bad things happen so that we can learn from them and evolve so that other people don't have to go through the same trials and tribulations and issues that we did. And so, evolution is fantastic. And lastly, I never defined what enough meant. Without a clear sense of enough, money, positions, recognition, people chase endlessly. And this is again based on what other people think, who are not your inner circle. And very often it's also based on trying to satisfy your significant other that might be more instant gratification than you are as a man. But if you have instant gratification where you want her, you're like people pleasing You're being a nice guy, a nice guy syndrome, to get her to like you, hopefully one day. Then you're going to be thinking and saying stuff like this at the end of your life. So you want to make sure that you live the way that you want to live and not the way other people want you to live. And there's going to be a woman out there, a significant other, who is going to like you based on what you want and will want to support you to get what you want and will respect you for moving towards the things that you want instead of, oh, can you do this for me? And her wanting you to, I don't know, provide for her or buy her stuff and whatever. No, if you decide what you want, she'll be happy and excited because not only does she get what she wants, and actually the biggest thing that a woman wants is a man that she can look up to, is a man that actually creates and has power and the ability to do. And yes, that is in line with, making money, but at the same time, that's also not like that. That's just one of the things. She wants you to have power in every part of your life. And that is when she will massively love you, with a passion instead of just liking you barely because she has to, because she's got no other options. And you'll be feeling that, which means that you're not going to like yourself much, which means that you're going to have regrets because you had ignorance. So the more you get educated on these topics, the better you can set up your life for liking yourself at the end of your life and becoming the person that you were meant to become. All of this has to do with becoming, right? You becoming a better person, you fulfilling your true potential. And you know what? What I found is that the magic is found in the work that you're avoiding. And guess what? Work is the key to it all. It's the fiery furnace that causes you to become a rough diamond, the valuable ones. We found out now that, diamonds aren't actually that valuable, but you understand my point here. You want to go through difficult times in order for you to come out on the other side and be absolutely a fantastic person that attracts the people that he likes into his vicinity, which then causes him to be liked by the people that he wants to be liked by, which means that he'll like himself. And that's when you don't have any regrets of how your life went. And that is something to be passionate about. And that's why I'm passionate about the 80-hour work week. There was someone who asked me the other day, like, are you still going to do 80-hour work week videos? And I'm like, yo, bro, the 80-hour work week is where it's at. But it's the most important time is in the first few years of your working career. That is like the most important time to do the 80-hour work week because it'll teach you the basics about money. It'll teach you the basics about business. It'll teach you everything that you need to know to set your life up to the point where you now have money to educate yourself on the other subjects of life. Like, imagine trying to understand relationships and business and health and all this at the same time and prioritize other people and understanding their interests and trying to figure out who do you like, who do you not like, blah, blah. You won't have time for it all. And this is why I say deprioritize women earlier on in your life because you're going to have a lifetime with these, with your significant other, most hopefully, probably, whatever, right? You take care of your health, which at this point can be maintenance because you just need to have good habits from a health perspective. But you don't need to spend 2 hours in the gym like Hormozy does. Okay? You can if it's a passion of yours and it's necessary like for you to achieve whatever you want to achieve from a health perspective. But at the same time, like the most important thing to understand early on in your life is to set your life up for freedom. Why? Because freedom from financial freedom comes from it's going to give you time. And with time, you now can actually do whatever you think is necessary and that you have to do from a relationship perspective. Right? When you don't have time, that means you're spending like actually only yeah, no, you're spending half of your awake time doing something that someone else wants you to do in order for you to get a measly, whatever, less than $100 an hour. When money isn't the most important thing. But if you don't want it to become the most important thing for the rest of your life, then you make it the most important thing in your early 20s and in your 30s so that you never ever have to make that the most important thing. Like, you see, it seems like I massively love money and I want to get so rich. Like, who gives a rat's how rich you are if you're unhappy or miserable? And if you have lots of regrets at the end of your life? I love what money can do for people. I love what it can do for you, for your life, and for your freedom, and for your family. I love what it can do and is doing for my family. And so, as you begin to understand financial freedom and what it means to actually produce income that is sustainable because you got good at it, you understood risk management, and as a result, you understood business. And now you can print money legally by understanding what people want, give them the solution, and create, your financial freedom that way. That allows you to not have to think about money in the future. And the cool part is that if you're a good person, you will never stop working for other people because that's how you get your woman to like you more. They love that you have social status. And guess what people care about in the world? They care about the fact that you have money. But you're not doing it necessarily only for them to care about you because you have money. You're doing it because you have the power and the ability to do great things for people in need. And whoever has a demand for your product, they have a need. And you're solving that for them. You're doing service to others while at the same time becoming who you were supposed to become so that you could like yourself, not have any regrets, and be fired up about life. So I hope you understood what I wanted to share with you guys. This is a very precious topic to me. And as you can see, I could talk in depth about this topic of no regrets and being fired up about life in general and just having a fantastic attitude. And if you understand this stuff, then we should spend more time together. Make sure that you DM me on Instagram, Joseph.ONTRACC, and let's see what we can do for you. Talk to you soon, brothers.